Welcome back to Crosshairs Television. We are in Druid Hill Park in Baltimore for day one of Charm City Cyclocross and race number one in the Parkway CX Trophy presented by Union Craft Brewery. Druid Hill Park is uncharacteristically sloppy this year with several short sections of deep mud. The wet conditions changed the feel of the Charm City track from one that is usually fast and flowing to one that requires a bit more power and handling skill. At the start, Ellen Noble gets the hole shot with Maglie Rochette and Katie Keogh on her wheel. It's no surprise that these three would be at the front of the race. Rochette has had a great start to the season with a sweep of Rochester Cyclocross and a win at Reno Cross. Keogh took a huge victory in Iowa City, winning the World Cup race. And Noble has several podiums and finished second to Mariana Voss in the Waterloo World Cup. Behind that trio is Becca Faringer, Carolyn Mani, and Sunny Gilbert. The field gets stretched out quickly as the riders exit the prologue and tackle the Mansion Hill for the first time. Rochette leads the way. A minute later, Rochette continues to lead with Noble and Keogh close behind. At pit 2, there is already a gap between second and third, and another between third and the next pair. By the time the leaders work through the sand and the planter obstacle, a sizable gap between the top three and the rest of the field has already appeared. Rochette continues to push the pace with Noble on her wheel. Keogh falls back a tad. Faringer stays a few ticks ahead of the rest of the field. At the beginning of lap 2, the field approaches the 29 steps of the Scaffolding Resources flyover. The heavy mud before the stairs forces everyone to dismount and run. On the other side of the flyover, Rochette is still in the lead with Noble comfortably on her wheel and Keogh consistently a few seconds back. Faringer remains in fourth with Mani and Gilbert chasing. Down the descent and into this tricky right-hander, Noble sits on Rochette's wheel. There is a technical uphill 180 at the end of the stretch as the riders ride through a throng of spectators on Club Row. As the leading pair enters the climbs before pit 2, Rochette continues to hit these sections hard. Noble doesn't falter, never taking the lead but covering every move. As Keogh drifts back a few more seconds, Faringer starts to move away from Mani and Gilbert. At the end of the lap, we see the pair on the final descent before the finishing straight. This section is always a good indicator of who will win Charm City on the final lap. You want to be first down this hill at the end of the race. It's a tough sprint to come around another rider. We are 16 minutes into the race, and riders yet to know how many laps remain. At the planks, there's no change at the front. Noble continues to mark Rochette so closely, their remounts are in perfect sync. Keough continues to try and catch back on with that leading pair. Farringer remains in fourth. Gilbert pulls slightly ahead of Mani into fifth. We get our first look at the enormous mud puddle on the track. This section was the scene of many mud baths during the amateur fields. Coming with too much speed, and it's easy to get it wrong. Back at the flyover, and it looks like the duo of Rochette and Noble are going to be fighting this one out for the lead as Keough drops a bit further back. The next time through the trees and towards pit 2, Noble has moved ahead for the first time. Not attacking, just trading places with Rochette at the front. In the sand, Rochette is back in front with Noble back to her established position, inches off the back of the wheel in front. This wooden tree box on the course is an iconic feature. The tree no longer remains, but the obstacle survived the recent UCI rule changes limiting some artificial features. The pair careers down the hill towards the finishing straight. Two laps to go and back on Club Row, and it's nothing but status quo. Rochette leads with Noble on her wheel. Same goes on the climbs near pit 2. This race is highly tactical, and the tension in the venue is growing as everyone knows a move has to come from one of these riders at some point. Through the mud for the penultimate time, and Rochette and Noble are holding nothing back as both have to unclip to keep their balance. A dress rehearsal for the final sprint, if it comes to that, as the pair descends towards the finishing climb. One lap to go. Rochette and Noble get the bell. Last approach to the flyover, and no move yet by either rider. Noble is tight on Rochette's wheel. Off the bike, they are in a dead sprint on the run towards the stairs. On the tricky climbs after the flyover, Rochette goes foot down and Noble tries to get around, but Rochette plays good defense and blocks the move. Final times toward the tricky 180 in Club Row. The leading pair is running out of time. This one may come down to a sprint. But before that happens, Noble makes her move. Right before the 180, she passes on the high side. Once around the turn, she puts in a vicious attack and immediately opens up a gap as the crowd cheers her on. Patiently waiting all race long for exactly the right time to attack, Noble gets it right and immediately opens up a sizable lead over Rochette. Knowing this can be the winning move, Noble doesn't let up. She puts in another dig and stretches out the lead even more. One more time over the planter, and it's a short trip to the finish for Ella Noble, who takes the day one win at Charm City Cyclocross. Rochette finished second with Keogh third, Farringer fourth, and Gilbert in fifth.
The feeling going in was not good, actually. I was feeling like kind of unwell all week, and I was even kind of questioning.
I can't hear you otherwise.
Sorry. I was feeling unwell enough that I actually didn't really know if I wanted to start, but I knew that I could get out there and at least get in some good efforts on my legs. But I knew that if I wanted to win, I would have to play really, really, really conservatively. So this race was actually a really good learning opportunity for me because it forced me to race in a way that I never have before, which was waiting, which is something that probably would have paid off a little bit with my battle with Boss a couple weeks ago. But yeah, so going in with Magali, I felt better once I got started and got my legs moving. But yeah, it was definitely a super tactical race, which is something that I'm not really used to.
Really pretty early in the season so far, but you and Magali already with some good battles. So
yeah.
So just another, really just another one in a long line. What did you, was it just a waiting or anything else now that you know how she races? And maybe what was this decision to attack when you did and where you did?
Yeah, that's the thing. Magali is like specifically such a hard racer to race against because I think that we're very similar riders. So like we're both really punchy and pretty good technically. So wherever I am used to having a really big advantage over someone and then like having like, you know, the kind of like shortcomings, like we're really evenly matched in the same spots and then like kind of struggle in the same spots. So figuring out how to beat her has been like kind of an ongoing process. So really what it took today was finding where she was making mistakes and capitalizing on that. So I knew that she was struggling on the 180 going along Club Row. Sorry. That just like clotheslined himself. Sorry. So I knew that she was struggling on that section and I didn't know maybe if she was bluffing a little bit and was struggling or if she was really starting to take on water, but I figured I would put in one more dig and otherwise I was saving a little bit for the sprint.